So one of our students found this book, Stellaluna, by Janelle Cannon, in our book nook, and she recognized it from a movie that she saw of the same name. That's the same story, and she asked if we could read it during quiet time. So we decided that day would be a good day to read it, and as we talked about Stellaluna and the adventure that she went through in surviving an owl attack, and then learning to live with birds, and learning to become like a bird, and eventually going back to live with her family and living like a bat. The kids had a lot of questions about different parts of bats.
And some of them were very eager to share what they already knew about bats. So we thought we would share the book with the second class, who were also very excited about talking about bats and having questions about them, and when we read it to them also. So we decided to take it further and talk about bats even more.
So our plan for the week was to explore with the kids different parts of bats, where they live, what they eat, how they're like birds, how they're different from birds. And
so how did you do that?
See where it took us.
Yeah.
So first we made a web, and
let's see.
Over here, this is the web from Gaunt Olive, and we went around, and the kids either could say something they knew about bats or ask a question about them. So we have a lot of different questions and things that they knew.
Some students knew facts that they had heard about bats from other places. Some students had misconceptions about bats. For example, some students believe that there are vampire bats, and some students think that vampire bats don't exist. And so what we decided to do was find out.
Yeah, so we wrote everything down, whether there was a dispute, whether it actually was a fact or not, but we wrote everything down and took it from there.
Yep, so we started by going to the library. We checked out a bunch of books, some fiction, some nonfiction.
Some fiction, some nonfiction.
They're displayed on our bookshelf for all the students to explore, and they have access to them. And we pulled one of them today that was a nonfiction book to find out, where do bats live? And we found out that bats don't just live in caves, but they live in forests and fields and gardens and abandoned houses and caves and barns,
jungles.
They live in all parts of the world. And the kids already knew that bats live in forests because they realized from Stellaluna that bats hang by their feet. So they hang upside down, and that's what's comfortable for them. And
so then we went and had a big discussion about how that could look in our classroom.
Oh, I cannot wait to see.
And so they discussed making caves and getting branches and hanging them, and so that's what we started to do.
Okay, yeah, so when I walked in today, this is Anna, I saw all kinds of things hanging from the ceiling. Branches, what looks like a bonfire pit, and more branches. And then, what is all this other stuff that I saw?
So these are the beginnings of their caves, and they were decorating them, and we're not sure if perhaps all the decorations stemmed from the mining that they talked about in the other class, but we just let them go to town in decorating their caves, and I think they're somehow going to be put together at some point. This is a to be continued.
And we also had the students use their handprints and cut out their handprints so they could practice their scissor work to create bats. And some of them have decided it might be a good idea if we hang these bats by their feet on the branches in our classroom.
And in the caves.
Of course.
Because bats hang by their feet. So we are still working on them.
Right, some of the students haven't made theirs yet. In the next few days, everyone will make one. And
maybe you need a trapeze so they can practice hanging by their feet.
Maybe the bar on the playground would be a good
Right, that's a good start. Okay, anything else?
We also plan on sharing with the students once we all learn what bats eat, because bats don't just eat fruit like Stellaluna, but some bats are vampire bats, and some bats eat flowers, and some bats eat insects. And so we plan on having a bat snack where we will find edible, kosher, parv, different items for the kids to try so that they can eat the way bats do.
Interesting. All right, stay tuned.